we've been talking about this in the private chat a little bit. We've kind of probably already know our opinions on where we feel Jeff Skinner should be playing. And I'll just put a caveat out there that I'm not even sure I believe in my own statement here. But that all said, my phone just died. Oh, that blows everything. All right. I had all the stats written down and I don't have them memorized. So that sucks. But ultimately, when you looked at expected goals for, goals per 60, plus minus, and what was the other one? There's another stat in there, but he was out of the 12 Oilers forwards, he was either 10th or 11th in every single category. Like his possession matrix have been awful. As Quaddy mentioned, even though he looked like he had a good game, he's still been outscored 8-2 over the last 12. He's got the worst plus minus on the team. We could probably throw Lotzie up on the top line with McDavid for a game and pull a goal and an assist out of him every once in a while. So I think my statement is this: call me crazy, but that was a fluke, and Jeff Skinner should be in the bottom 6 for the rest of the season. Patrick?
I don't think it was a fluke. I think he belongs in the top 6. I think that's where he should have been the whole year too. I mean, I think he was a bit of a victim of the slow start for the team, and then he didn't really have Chris Knobloch's confidence right off the start, and Podkolzin looked great. He was playing with Draisaitl. Draisaitl wanted him there, and then all these factors worked against Jeff Skinner early on, but I think the work he's put in lately, and Quaddy actually corrected himself in the chat there too. He's Jeff Skinner's not being outscored; he's outscoring. So he's actually doing really good.
Yeah.
So no, I think Jeff Skinner should be in the top 6 for sure.
Ryan?
I'll call you crazy on this one too. I'm with Patrick. Jeff Skinner is a top 6 scoring winger, right? That's his game plan. That's his MO. That's where he fits best on our given roster. He's not a checker. He's not gonna grind guys into the walls, right? He's gonna take the puck. He's gonna put it in the back of the net. And he needs to be put in a position to do that. And beside Leon Draisaitl is a pretty good position to be able to do that. So I think he had a pretty short leash at the start of the year, even though he scored two of the team's first 3 goals of the year in those losses that they had. I think he was unfairly the scapegoat in that scenario. He got another little bit of I think it was an 8-game run in the top 6 after McDavid got hurt and a little bit when he came back. That didn't go great, but Skinner had lost his confidence by then, and he didn't have Knobloch's trust at that point. But a credit to Knobloch for working with him and getting his defensive game where he wants it, and for actually giving him an opportunity again, right? That's the big thing. If you're going to do that to a guy and try to have certain expectations of him, well, you got to give him a chance if he meets those expectations. And Skinner's doing it right now, and he's getting the chance. So I think I want to see him up there for an extended run now. Let's see if he's really learned, or if it was just a fluke. Let's let it play out.
Lots of you've watched a million hours of hockey. We all have on this podcast. Have you ever seen anybody move in and out of space as uniquely as he does around the net? Like his ability and his hockey IQ to find the area and the open space and in these little ways. I don't know. Have you ever seen anything like it? You think it's completely unique, or just
definitely a skill?
The figure skating.
It's definitely a skill of his. Like just the way he can use his edges. He does the 10-2 Mohawk turn, whatever you want to call it. But he's got poise with the puck in front of the net too. Like that finish against Chicago last night. Like a lot of guys get that puck and they're shooting it right away, but nope, he's corralling it, taking it forehand and going top shelf where grandma keeps the cookies. So it was a nice finish, and not a lot of guys have that level of hands and that level of composure in front of the net.
Yeah, well said. Okay, Michael, you started this off, and I would left you till last so you could have the last word on it. I know you're going to call me crazy. So
Yeah,
you can say that whenever, but I'd just like to say this. I've heard from Tommy, I've heard from Rashog on his podcast. Jeff Skinner has not pouted 1 iota this season. He has taken every healthy scratch, every minute of practice, every optional practice, staying late, and never once shown a scowl on his face this entire time. So, like I said, I'm not sure I believe my own statement, but call me crazy, Michael.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Like every time you see Skinner, he's got a smile on his face. Like, guy who's getting healthy is scratched and he still looks like he wants to be here, or be
a lot better than Buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, that might just be it, right? Like who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, he's a top 6 guy. That's what he is. If you're not playing him in the top 6, you're not using him correctly. And I mean, Knoblauch obviously knows what he's doing, but I think at this point in time, and he's got to put him there. He has to. I think you got to figure out what you got in Jeff Skinner, at least before the deadline, right? Like if you got a top 6, and he hasn't spent enough time there. But last night, like Lotzi, you're 100% right. Like those are clutch goal scorers goals right there, right? Like that's a goal scorers type of goal. You're not getting that out of Arvidsson this year. It's like I wouldn't put Arvidsson there because he's, and then you got Podkolzin. The two of them weren't scoring, right? Like I love Podkolzin. He's bumping and he's grinding, but you need a guy like Skinner to start putting the puck in the net. He could be Draisaitl's Hyman, right? Like that's the kind of he might not score 50 goals in a season, but he could really start to. And he just when he comes in the lineup, he scores goals, right? Like he's doing all right for a guy that's sat about 6 games, right? So yeah, top 6 or nothing in my mind, and find out what you got at least before the deadline and do something with it.
My explanation point on all of that, and great points, Michael, as always, but my explanation point on all of that is I think the reason we don't have Brandon Saad is the organization's confidence in the progress that Jeff Skinner was making. Right? I think that was kind of everybody's gut reaction and knee-jerk reaction. Patrick, I know it was yours. As soon as Brandon Saad was a possibility, well, we got to get rid of somebody, and we can't give up on Skinner yet, right? So we hadn't, and I think that's probably why he's not here.